Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And let me see, for the broadcast schedule for the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net. And for the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV, www.simultv.com. Don't forget, X-Zone Nation, the last week of September, we are going to be playing the best of as we move our studios and our corporate offices back down to Niagara. We left Niagara, I believe it was in 1999. And after all these years of that thing I do, we're heading back to Niagara, and we're looking forward to seeing so many friends as the X-Zone returns to the airwaves from one of the major radio stations down there. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is a young lady I had the pleasure of having on the show while at News Talk 610 CKTB. Her name is Holly Hall, and Holly is a highly recommended and endorsed astrologer, master astrologer, I should say. Intuitive. She's based out of Toronto, Canada, educated in psychology, philosophy, and is a highly acclaimed life coach. One can spend months, years working with traditional counseling. Holly instantly knows your childhood dynamics, your desires, and your unique personality traits, your gifts and challenges. She connects with the universal mind and the unified field, then uses this to help you navigate your life towards happiness. Holly has a vast clientele from all over the world, and she's available for private sessions, workshops, columns, and as a motivational speaker. For more information on our good friend Holly Hall, visit www.askhollyhall.com. And Holly, it's been way too long since you and I have been here in the X Zone. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. It's good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear your voice. Good to hear your voice as well, Holly. What have you been doing over the years? Tell us, bring us up to date. It's only been, 20 years?
Yeah, pretty close. Yes, probably close enough. Wow, since we connected the last time when I did the radio show, I believe it was in St. Catharines.
That's right.
Yeah, and I was there in person, which was really cool. I have quit the job that I had at the time. I started my own internet radio station as self-help.
Right.
I hired developers to create certain programs for that. I had about 24 hosts.
Wow.
And then I did it for about 9 years, and then I sold it. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. In the meantime, I'd met a couple of really, quite popular mainstream gurus, one of them being Dr. Shefali. If you know anything about Hay House, I had a couple of Hay House people, Helen Fisher as well, who's big on TED Talk. And I got endorsed by a few of them, especially Dr. Shefali. So I've been really busy doing readings ever since, and sessions and coaching and everything else.
You and I were chatting briefly before we went to air, and I remember meeting your little girl, a little redheaded little girl, and she was so small back then. And then you kind of threw me a curveball when you said, "Do you remember that little red girl?" I said, "Yeah." Little redheaded girl. I said, "Yeah, well, she's 20 and in university."
Yep.
God, talk about a time warp. Holy cow.
I know. And that's exactly it is. It feels like a time warp for me too. And she's still small though. She never grew past 5 foot. But she's going to school to be a teacher.
Well, congratulations. Please give her my best.
I will, thank you.
Holly, you're an intuitive, you're a psychic, you're a master astrologer. How did you get started in the work that you do today?
Yeah, so I think, most of my life I was told I was psychic. I come from a long lineage of psychics, but I have a scientific mind, very practical, rational, typical Virgo. And I was like, no, I'm not psychic. I just got common sense,
Yeah.
So one time in my 20s, somebody said, you might be interested in astrology because there's a lot of science and mathematics and everything to it, although the scientist would beg to differ with that.
Yeah.
And I picked up the book that he gave me, which today is still one of the best books to learn astrology. And I am not an avid reader, never was. I had no patience for starting or finishing books, and I was not one in school to study. I just did what I had to do. And I could not put these books down. I picked it up like a second language that I had forgotten, and I've been doing it ever since. I've always been fascinated in the human mind. What makes people tick, motivates them? Why do they do what they do? Why does one person do this and another person do that? And so I took psychology and some philosophy at University of York in Toronto. And but this hit home for me because I was able to help people see sides of themselves and parts of their psyche that they didn't see, that they didn't know, or they misinterpreted it as being a weakness when really it was a strength if it was turned into the right direction.
So let me ask you, Holly, as someone who loves science and you're very logical, how does astrology work? Like, how does looking at a chart allow you to understand so much about a person so fast yet so accurately?
I was miffed by that at the beginning as well, because I'm the type of person, if I will try something before I judge it and to decide whether it works or not. So I tried this, it worked, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was doing it a bit differently. Now they're calling it evolutionary astrology or speed astrology, which I just discovered and started reading on it. And I was like, okay, I've been doing that all along. So what I'm learning now with the works of Nassim Haramein, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he's a radical physicist. Okay. And he's focusing on a lot of the unfinished work of Einstein, black holes and whatnot. And there is a unified field. There is a universal mind that we tap into. And the way that I prove this to people is that if you look back historically anyone that's been made major discoveries, inventions,
Right.
have worked on things like Einstein had worked on, you will see that this was happening in several parts of the world at the exact same time. It's just that one person got credit for it. In fact, there has been arguments that they shouldn't have gotten credit for it. Another person should have got credit for it. And why does this happen all at the same time? Why was the pizza invented all at the same time? Why was certain discoveries discovered at the same time? Because they're all tapping into that unified field, that mind, that we all deliver information to, and
Right.
it all comes back to us. And it's just energy. It's science is actually starting to prove it. They're doing tests and that are proving, double-blind studies that are proving that we do have this unspoken sort of place to find answers. And to me, that's what I'm tapping into. And so when I look at an astrology chart, I am looking at all of the planets also have energy, just like the moon has its energy, which isn't really a planet, it's a satellite, but it has an energy field. That's proven. Ecologically, it affects our tides and whatnot. And anyone who works in a hospital or works at a police station will tell you something happens when there's a full moon.
Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah. Like everybody knows, like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, something crazy happened. A lot of births happen, a lot of deaths happen in a full moon. So and that's just a little tiny satellite that's, around our Earth. Large planets have energetic traits as well. And when we're born under that, in the map of the sky, the moment that you were born is what I look at. They all make angles to each other, mathematical 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 180-degree angles. And those tell me stories. And when I put it all together like little pieces of a puzzle, I can say, oh, this is the childhood you had. This is the type of parents that you had. This is the upbringing. This is why you had it. This is the karma that you brought from the past life to this life. This is the lessons that you have to learn. This is the patterns that you have. And let's break those patterns so that you can find abundance, so you can find happiness and peace and self-love. Really, that's what it's. People just want happiness and love.
Isn't that the truth?
Right. Yeah. They think it looks like money. They think it looks like the perfect partner. But ultimately, they just want happiness and love and self-love. So that's how I guide people. I can see patterns just like a meteorologist can see the patterns of weather. I can see that pattern, and I help people locate that, tell them the time frames that these things are going to happen, the difficult ones, the challenging ones, and the easy ones. And I help navigate them, basically like a roadmap, to find what they're looking for.
I can understand in today's scientific world how astrology could be understood, interpreted. But when we look back in time, at the time of conception of the astrological charts, how in the name of heaven did the people who developed astrology and the charts way back then know so much about the universe and about the effect that the planets would have on the people on this planet? Now, you and I have to take our first commercial break. Holly, please stand by. And XO Nation, our guest this hour is Holly Hall. And if you'd like to find out more about Holly, if you'd like to contact her for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website, www.askhollyhall.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and on Simul TV. And once again, if you'd like to send me an email, it's very simple. XZone@XZoneRadioTV.com. Holly Hall and I return after this break. Whatever you do, don't go away.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Holly Hull is my special guest this hour, www.askhollyhull.com. Holly, before we went to the commercial break, I was kind of thinking out loud, how could the people who first implemented astrology way back in time know everything about the planets and the effect of the planets on we small folk on this third rock from the sun?
Yeah, it started off, and some people might beg to differ the facts as well, but one of the most famous astrologers were the ones that found Jesus in a manger.
The Magi.
And that's right. And they followed the star. They followed Venus. They didn't realize that's what it was, but they were following Venus. And as far back as when the skies were a lot clearer than they are now, they could see as far as Saturn. They could see Saturn, but they could not see the planets further than that. In fact, Pluto wasn't, even though that they've taken Pluto off the list of a planet, but it wasn't discovered until 1930. And up until the 1800s, it was mandatory for you to, if you wanted to go into the sciences or the maths, you had to take astrology.
Really?
Yep. It was mandatory to the 17th. The Catholic Church came in and took that all away, but that was mandatory. And so a lot of it was observation. It was the observation of the planets that were in the sky and the observation of how people acted and the reactions and the observation of the characteristics of people. And that they've been doing that since the Babylonian. If you watch some of Greg Braden is an archaeologist and does a lot of historical stuff, and there's actually glyphs written in their own language, written of people talking about astrology and astrological glyphs and the suns and the stars and all of that. So it's been around for a really long time.
Have there been any advances in astrology since the beginning? Yeah. And what effect, if any, does the fact that Pluto is no longer a planet? Does that have any effect on astrology?
No, not. We still use Pluto as astrologers. We still use that. There's another one that they're questioning whether it's a planet or not, and it's pretty close to Pluto, so it's not going to make and it goes about the same speed, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Probably the biggest advance was, I think it was in the late 1700s, 1800s, when Kepler, he was a mathematician, and he created a mathematical equation that would tell where the future of the stars and the planets would be. And this was not just for astrologers, it was for astronomers as well. And because there's a pattern, they go with the same speed. Every planet has its same speed at the same pattern. And he created this huge, long mathematical equation, which is actually how I learned at first, because I did this. This is a secret before the computer came out. So it was a while ago. And then the biggest advantage was when the computers came out and they were able to make computerized versions of calculating an astrological chart. A lot of people think it's just like your sun signs in Leo, so this makes you that. Every single planet, there's 10 planets, and then the sun and your moon, and then there's a whole, like some of the astrologers use all kinds of other satellites and other type of mini planets as well, and they also use some locational theories as well. And there's over 7 billion or 10 billion combinations of an astrological chart. So I know people are going to say, well, what about twins? People are born exactly at the same time, exactly in the same place. That's nurture versus nature, and that's a whole nother topic.
But isn't it true that twins are not born at the same time because one comes out before the other, and that it does and is it that imprint, that time when the baby exits the womb and enters into this reality, that the imprint is done?
Yeah, the Western astrology is the first breath as soon as you come out. Eastern astrology is conception. But in Eastern astrology, the parents that are going to have astrology charts done on their children, they know when their conception was. They're very aware of wanting to know that. So, absolutely.
Unreal.
It's the first breath that you take, and you're taking in all of that energy.
How many different types of astrology are there? I've heard of Vedic astrology, Western astrology. What is the main difference?
Eastern astrology, which is Vedic astrology, is based on the conception of your birth.
Oh, I see.
And then they draw a chart up according to the conception, which is obviously about 9 months before. And the Western astrology is when you were born. They have similar signs, they still have 12 houses. And the 12 houses basically a 360 degree. It looks like a big giant circle of the universe and our galaxy. And then the center, they put Earth in the center, and then everything goes around that. And we know Earth isn't the center, but that's how they do that, because you're born on Earth. So that's everything is from that viewpoint.
Most of us are born on Earth.
Yes. I don't know. I beg to differ. I think some of us, this might be our first time here, but
let's get back to Vedic astrology for a second, because if I understand that your astrological chart is based on the date and time of your birth in one form of astrology. Okay, no, that is simple. The child is born, the exact date and time is recorded. But going back to Vedic astrology, at the time of conception, how can they be so exact when the astrologer really does not know the exact date and time? It's an estimate. So how can that estimate bring forth exact results?
Right, and they're not going to know the time unless
exactly.
They might, but most won't know the time, right? Unfortunately, too, I because I was endorsed by Dr. Shefali, who does a combination of Eastern and Western psychiatry. She's a psychiatrist, a parent psychologist, a parent coach, and in parenting. And she's East Indian. So I have a ton of clients that are her followers that are also East Indian, and most of them have a big complex that their parents had this astrologer do their chart for them when they were born and just did all this terrible predictions. Yeah. And most of my clients have said that they're charlatans. So they never trusted astrology. It was really took a lot of bravery, courage for them to have me do a reading for them, because they were like, nobody trusts astrologers. They're all charlatans in India. They're just trying to make money off our parents, right? So there is, you don't have that time. You don't have that time frame. Now, there's some very good Vedic astrologers. They just don't use the time. They use other angles. They use other, other ways of predicting. And it's slightly, some people will say, well, it'll work out to be the same. Doesn't matter if you do Vedic. But I've tried both, and I know that one of my past lives, I was an Eastern astrologer. I did astrology in India. So I obviously did that. But I don't resonate with that in this one. I resonate with the Western. And then there's another concept that our planet has shifted because it's on a wobble. So it's done a little shift. So the constellations aren't exactly the way they were 200 years ago.
That's right, yeah.
So it has shifted a bit, but somehow that language of the angles and everything still holds true.
How can modern astrology, from a credible astrologer like yourself, how can it help our daily lives? How can it help our business? How can it help our love life?
Yeah, so what I love about it is that the best way for you to be able to advance in any way in your life is to know yourself, and get rid of those blocks that are holding you back. Those are the two things. And it doesn't matter if the best opportunity in the world shows up at your doorstep. If you don't know yourself and you don't have some of those blocks of fear, self-doubt, etc. released, you will not take that opportunity. You may not even answer the door. So then that's metaphorically. So what I do is I help people. I have a very good business client, a couple that in Germany, I talk to them every month, and they've got a bunch of yoga studios, and I talk to them about the people they work with, the people that they work for, because there's larger companies that contract them out, people that they want to move around, hire and fire. I got all their birth dates, and I help them understand the people that they work with and the people that they work for so they can best navigate and not take things personally, let go of resistance and blocks. And I give them time frames. This is what's going to happen in June. There's going to be this great opportunity coming your way, and if you don't keep yourself open to it, because this particular person has control issues, if you don't keep yourself open to it, you're going to miss the opportunity. So I want you to not look for it, just be open to any opportunity that comes your way, and it happens. And then we work on how are we going to get you to make this opportunity work for you the best way. And if they're like, I'm scared, I don't want to get that big, I don't want to grow that fast. And I said, okay, well, let's work through that. And we're going to find out. We go through the childhood. In this case, it was mom and dad relationship around money. So we go and we talk about that. We talk through that. In love relationships, there are so many couples that break up because they don't get each other and they take things personally. You're like this. You're doing this to me, and it's all your fault that you're doing this to me. It's not my fault. Yeah. So I help them see that this person isn't doing this to you. It's actually happening for you. This is an opportunity for you to look at your trigger. Why is that triggering me? Why is that upsetting me so much? And I've helped a lot of couples and I've helped a lot of parents with their children, understand their children so they don't take their children personality so personal as well.
I'm sorry, Holly. We've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. And X Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Holly Hull. If you'd like to find out more about Holly, if you'd like to contact Holly for a one-on-one reading, an astrological reading by one of the most credible astrologers that I've had the pleasure of meeting doing this show now for 30 years. My God, I'm old. Visit her website at www.askhollyhull.com, and she also has a Facebook page, facebook.com/askhollyhull. Now, when we come back, more with our guest this hour as we talk about astrology. And we're also going to be dabbling into extraterrestrials and much more. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Check us out online at www.xzbn.net and www.simultv.com. In the search engine on the right-hand top of the page, just put in the alphabet X and search, and bang, the X Zone TV channel comes up. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away.
How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hyde's life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
And welcome back, everyone. On the X-Zone Broadcast Network, we have something for everyone. Some of our shows include Paranormal Stakeout with Larry Lawson, A Different Perspective with Kevin Randall, Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyaka, Know the Name, Know the Genius in You with Sherwin Wyeth, Too Good to Be True with Justina and Peter Marsh, Connecting with Coincidence with Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD. Let me see. The Shaman Quest, Mystics, Oracles, Divination with Cooch Daniels, and of course the X-Zone Broadcast, the X-Zone Radio Show with yours truly, Rob McConnell. And for all the other programs, dates, times, and where you can listen, how you can listen, and a little bit about our hosts, visit www.xzbn.net. And don't forget, the X Chronicles newspaper is available for one and all with our compliments at xchroniclesnewspaper.com. Holly Hall is our special guest this hour, www.askhollyhall.com. Holly, what, in your opinion, as a professional astrologer, what is the best age for someone to start seeking out astrological advice to guide them through life's many mirrored halls?
20. Anywhere from 18 to 20. As soon as you're starting to try to figure out what you want to do for a living, what you want to do, what your mission is, what your career is, even as young as, I would say, about 18. If you're a parent, as soon as your child is born, get that chart done.
Wow. That soon?
Yeah.
What happens? Yeah. What happens, Holly? Here's a question I've always wanted to ask an astrologer, and you're the perfect astrologer to ask. What happens if someone is adopted and the exact date and time, well, they'll know the date, but the exact time is inaccessible to the new parents? How does that work?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't have their time of birth, so I can navigate around that. One of the things is, as soon as I work on a chart, and a lot of people have said to me, Holly, you must be psychic. How do you know this? You have a camera in my house. How do you know all this stuff? And at first, I really resisted the idea of psychic. I didn't like the word psychic. I didn't think I felt psychic, but I was really being exact about a lot of things that even I thought astrology shouldn't be telling me this. So somehow I get in a zone. I get connected to you energetically. The universal mind is in between all of that, and I'm just able to hone into everything that's happening energetically. So if you don't have your time of birth, I still do that. That still happens. And I've even had people that don't even know when they were born, like what day. Could have been a week before, a week after. There's some planets that move so slowly that they don't change a lot in a week. Other ones change, like the moon changes every 2.5 hours. So I just hone in onto that part of the chart. I use what I can.
And how long does it take for you to do an astrological reading for somebody who contacts you?
Yeah, so I do an hour. All my clients are 1 hour per session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that astrology, you were mentioning a company in Germany that uses your services on a corporate level.
Yeah.
How else can you, as an astrologer, help a business, not only with their personnel, but can you also help them in other aspects of their business?
Yeah, so I can help them time events. A lot of them will ask me, can you time an event? I can help them time meetings, time the best time for them to connect with maybe someone who's going to help their business grow. If they're stuck financially, they're having difficulties with finances, or having things are just not growing, I'll find out what's blocking you, what's holding you back, or maybe you're supposed to make a shift. Maybe this is the ending of one stage of your life and you're embarking onto something new, but you're having a hard time letting go. So I help people work on that shift as well.
What has been your most memorable reading that you've ever given, without giving us the name of the person that you did the reading for?
Oh, I can give you the name. It was Dr. Shefali.
Okay.
Because I interviewed her on my radio show, and after I said, could I grace you with one of my readings so you can see what it's all about. And she is a very cerebral person and, very articulate with this psychology. And she's like, sure. So she asked me, she had written a book, she sent it off to Oprah, and this was in September. I can't remember the year, but it was about 10 years ago. And she goes, is Oprah going to pick it up? I said, February, you're going to be on Oprah, and nothing is going to be the same after that. In fact, you'll probably forget even that I gave you this prediction. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So that's my most memorable one, because she circled back after about 8 years. Mm-hmm. And we reconnected again, and I jogged her memory, and she was like, oh my gosh. And that's when she endorsed me. I helped her with her daughter, some personality, not really helped her with her daughter, but I talked to her about her daughter, about her personality traits. And she was in awe that how exact I was about her daughter's personality traits. And that's when she endorsed me after that. So that's my most memorable one.
You mentioned one mind. How can people besides astrologer connect with the one mind, or is this something that requires a specific technique?
Yeah, so no, there's a bit of a technique around that. First of all, the more that you know yourself and the more that you let go things that are holding you back or blocking you, and letting go is just recognizing it, just knowing that this personality trait acts this way in this environment, and just witness yourself. Then you leave yourself open for that mind, that information to come in. Most of us fill our minds with distraction and what ifs and, beating ourselves up. So there's no room for that mind, universal mind, to tap in. The other thing is I've always been very well versed in dreams. My dreams have been very prophetic, very strong, powerful. Ever since I was a kid, I thought everybody remembered 5 dreams a night. And you can do this when you're dreaming or in a deep meditative state. You're in your subconscious, and you're in a beta, theta, that area, and that's when you can tap into the universal mind. So you don't have to remember your dreams. You just literally go to sleep, ask questions, and when you wake up, you'll wake up with an aha moment. You might wake up with a song in your head. You wake up with a feeling, or later on the day, something just goes, oh, and you just get like an idea. And you do this every single night, and you will tap into the universal mind throughout the evening while you're sleeping.
Is there a difference between the universal mind and the Akashic records?
I don't know a lot about the Akashic records, but what I do know, I would say, no, it's the same thing, because the universal mind, you know how and this is a science, biology, the subconscious mind remembers everything. You can walk down the street and it has taken a snapshot of everything that's there, all the people, what they're wearing, every brick on the wall, everything. That is the truth. It does that. Our conscious mind does not do that. The universal mind does the same thing. It has a snapshot of everything that's ever happened in the existence of this existence. So as the Akashic records are, everything is in a memory bank. That's as much as I know about it, and that's the same thing. Yeah, so it's very similar.
Fascinating. Dreams. When did you become interested in dreams? And before we get to that, you said something that triggered a memory that I have, is that a lot of people, when given a question that they just don't know the answer, they'll always say, well, let me sleep on that. And overnight, magically, or by some unknown methodology at this time, the answer comes to them.
Yeah, or how many people say, why don't you just get a good night's sleep?
Right.
We'll talk about this in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because we clear our mind of the day's clutter, and then our subconscious is able to sort it out. And dreams are very cryptic. Like if you don't understand dreams, it's very easy. You can go online. There's all kinds of dream dictionaries, dreammoods.com I like. And you can start to decipher them. And at first it's a lot of work, but eventually you don't have to do a lot of work. You just start doing it in your head while you're driving to work, like what kind of dreams you had.
Right.
But yeah, they're very powerful. And when I was 20, about the same time with the astrology, about a couple of years later, I was talking to somebody and about some dreams I had, and they're like, "Oh, I never dream." And I was like, "Huh?" So I looked it up, and it was like, no, nobody can never dream. Everybody dreams. But I was like, oh, and I started talking to other people. I'm like, no, I don't remember my dreams. No, I don't. And I was like, oh, I'm the only one? Okay, what does that mean? So I started studying my dreams. excessively. I have like 3 years of dream journals in detail. So yeah, that's where I got started. And I teach people how they can find those answers while they sleep. I tell my clients when I give all my clients homework, and some of them I'll go, this is what you're going to do for the next month. Before we talk, you're going to ask this question and you'll have the answer by the time we talk next time.
I love dreaming. It's very rare that I get enough sleep these days. But when I get enough sleep and I get into the dream state, yeah. I have a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, and I know that this is happening. And when I realize that I'm dreaming, or I think I'm dreaming, I will look for something to read. For example, a newspaper, a store sign, a menu, and if I cannot understand it, I know I'm dreaming, and then the fun begins.
That is so cool. That is lucid dreaming. Okay, there's about 7 different types of dreams. Right. That's lucid dreaming, which means you're aware that you're dreaming when you're dreaming, which is very rare. And that's when you can actually interact with your subconscious or the universal mind and say, you're showing me this paper I'm reading. What am I supposed to see? Tell me what I'm supposed to read.
Yeah. To me, that is my cue.
That's cool.
To have fun. I know that anything is possible at that time because I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
All right, Holly, stand by, my dear friend. You and I have to take our final break. And X-Zone Nation, when we come back, we'll be wrapping up this hour with Holly Hull. Don't forget, if you'd like to contact Holly for a one-on-one astrological reading, visit her website at www.askhollyhull.com. You can visit her on Facebook at Ask Holly Hull, or if you'd like to send her an email, holly@askhollyhull.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll wrap up this hour. When we come back, don't go away. If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
And welcome back, everyone. I've been talking about the move we're doing back to Niagara, but we're also going to be launching a new radio and TV channel called NRTV. That's Niagara Radio TV. We're going to be featuring both sides of the Niagara River with shows on the paranormal from Buffalo. We've got a show coming in from Lewiston. We have shows coming in about Fort Niagara in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And Niagara-on-the-Lake itself is filled with ghosts, hauntings, and things that go bump in the night. And I'm not talking about the people who are staying at the Anchorage Hotel. There's a lot happening, and it's all going to be at www.nrtv.ca. Holly Hall is my special guest, and I've had the pleasure of knowing this young lady for, what is it, Holly, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
You see,
I feel that long.
I know. That's because you were so young back then, and I was just me back then.
I was like 20.
Thanks, Holly. First of all, 15, thank you so much. I thought it was closer to 12. Didn't your mom and dad bring you to the studio? Yeah. In fact, you were in grade 3. My memory serves me correct. Yeah.
Uncle Rob.
Yeah. Call me Uncle Bobby. Thank you. All I need is a clown now. Speaking about clown, I used to work with Doug Hobbs, who was actually the clown on the Uncle Bobby show. So there you go.
Okay. There we go. That wraps up that old story.
God, doesn't it? I'm so old.
Age is nothing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's age is only as old as the people you feel, right?
Yeah, I like that one.
You can use it. Listen, I've known you as an astrologer. I've known you as an intuitive. I've known you as a psychic. But now I understand you and your husband are getting into the realm of aliens. And I'm not talking about the ones from Syria or Mexico. I'm talking about the ones from off planet.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
I know. I was never if you asked me 15 years ago if I believed in alien, I go, the jury's out. I don't know. I haven't seen one. I don't have any proof, whatnot. But of course, I never disbelieve. And then just about the last 3 years, we started watching some documentaries on it and watching some of the proof and some of the footages. And some of them I'd say is skeptical, whether this is coming from truth. But a lot of it is, wow. And then I've been getting messages from Spirit, from Universal Mind, whatnot, that many, now I'm not sure, I'm sure there's aliens living amongst us on Earth, there's proof of it, but I'm still like to see one, I guess, to validate that.
Yeah, I hate to be the devil's advocate here, okay?
I know you're going to be.
Yeah, okay. But what proof is there?
What proof is there? I don't know.
Oh, because
there's a lot of the validation, like a lot of the stuff. Like now, the Area 51 is starting to disclose some of its documentations. And apparently it's going to be mainstream. There's all kinds, right?
No, wait a sec. Hold on here. What documentation from Area 51? What do you know that I don't know?
My husband was telling me that he saw it on a biography or a documentary.
I see.
He goes, it's going to be released.
Okay.
You don't know? You know.
Well, I've had people on from Area 51 who are CIA contractors, and we've had the discussions, and, you mention aliens and spacecraft, and they kind of chuckle. They say, come on, Rob.
You got, what's his name, Hillier. I can't remember his first name.
Oh, wait a minute. Paul Hillier.
Paul Hillier, talking about it.
He's a nut job.
What? You do the X zone. Give me a break.
I do the X zone, but I want to believe, but I also want credible proof, not the former, the former deputy prime minister who, while in office, claimed on an interview on the show that he never saw a UFO report.
Yeah. Now that's why we're curious about it. We're watching it all the time.
It's
called this is so curious.
It's called old age and senility.
No, it's not. So my concept is not that anything about aliens here and what's the pyramids come from and everything like that.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother story. Mm-hmm. But I do. This is when people are going to think but I do firmly believe that we are not the only existence in all of the kabillion galaxies that are now discovered that are out there. Kepler's in another galaxy looking at inhabited Earth and getting footage of pictures of that, there are other planets that are inhabitable. So that and nobody knows what that is. It's like a telescope, not a telescope, but a camera that's floating around out in another universe. So the idea is that I firmly believe in reincarnation. We're reborn over and over and over again. We're regenerated and we come into this human form, but we don't always come into a human form. We've been born into other planets as well. Oh, Earth is a stomping ground for us to learn lessons, advance, evolve, etc.
So Earth is the universal school for dummies.
Pretty much.
Oh boy. So reincarnation, I would imagine we could classify that as the first method of recycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, recycle souls.
Recycled souls. Yeah. Exactly.
You were saying earlier that in a previous life you were an Indian astrologer.
Yeah, and you know what? That was proven to me. That was the most amazing story. So I was in my late 20s,
right?
And I went to a candle party, and this was before computers. Again, I know it's going to age me. Might have been my early 20s, and at the end of the party, they brought out the Ouija board, which I grew up with psychics and intuitive, so the Ouija board was like, you don't do that. But I was a people pleaser, and I was like, okay, I'll shut up and do this, and. So I put my hand on this, and it spelt out because that's what I just got into astrology. So my question was have I ever done this before? Like, how did I pick this up?
Yeah.
And if I did, where did I do it? It spelt out the city and the country, which was India, the city, which was like 25 letters long. I can't even remember it to this day. I can tell you the location of it. And right away, I was like, you got an encyclopedia. They bring out this encyclopedia that was the size of a kitchen counter.
Right,
it was huge. We opened it up, and there it was, the exact spelling, the exact area of who I was.
My good God.
I could not make that up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's what I did.
Is that the only past life you can recall?
No, I've done some past life regression, which I do with some of my clients as well. I do timeline therapy. I do past life regressions to help them find out where trauma is, because some people are born with PTSD. I can see that clearly in their charts, and we talk about that. And so, yeah, I've had a couple of other ones. I had one where I died at 19. I worked for a royalty. I was not a slave, but I was a worker, and I was impregnated through a rape, basically. The powers that be thought he could just treat all of us any way he could. And then I was kicked out because I was pregnant. I gave the baby up into one of those churches where you put him in a little hole and turns around and the baby disappears. And I had scarlet fever, and I died shortly after that. So that was one of that. And that was in Venice. And I just recently went to Venice because when I was young, I had those dreams that I was feverishly running through very narrow streets, and there was water everywhere. Now, again, there was no internet or anything like that. I was only like 6 years old. And when I was 8, I was watching National Geographic, and they had a whole thing on Venice. And I had this was a repetitive dream that I had. And I went, that's my dream. That's everywhere. I've been to all those places in my dream. So that's my proof that life happened.
We've got about 2 minutes, about a minute and a half left, my producer just said. What are some of your global predictions?
So Trump, which I already started predicting, and you can look back on my YouTube channel and whatnot, and I did that just before April, that in April he was going to be not blamed, but, started to be researched or whatnot for doing something that was so unjust that no one could forgive it. And I looked at it as infidelity, but with younger people. And so I had put that out there. Nothing happened. Everybody's like, what happened? Now, June, July has come out that another person, I can't remember his name right now, he just committed suicide in jail.
Right, yeah.
That he was involved in all of the young child brides and sexual stuff, and that somehow Trump's involved in that. So I predicted that. I do believe that's going to come to fruition, and that will get him out of that'll get him out of the office. The rest of the global predictions is around our global economy and how there's the climate change and everything. And I do believe that there's going to be a recession that's going to happen within the next 6 months, and that's going to bring everything down to speed the way it should be. A lot of people aren't going to be happy with it, but we need a jolt, and that's going to jolt us into being a lot less materialistic.
So it's going to be like a reboot.
Yeah, exactly.
Holly, the time has come, my dear friend, when you and I must say so long for tonight, but this won't be the last time, and we'll have to get you back on the show a couple of times in the near future, not 20 years down the road.
Yes, please.
So take care of yourself. Thank you ever so much for coming on the show tonight. Continued success. Always great talking to you. And X-Zone Nation, if you'd like to contact Holly for a one-on-one consultation, reading, intuitive, astrological chart, whatever, visit her website at www.askhollyhall.com. Now, you can also send Holly an email, X-Zone, I'm sorry, not X-Zone, but Holly, askhollyhall.com. Now, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away. And one more time, Holly's website is www.askhollyhall.com. And she's also on Facebook at facebook.com/askhollyhall. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away. With a passion for divination, Cooch Daniels, lifelong professional reader and author, invites you on a mystical journey on the Mystics, Oracles, and Divination radio show. During her time with you, you'll meet visionaries, readers, energy lightworkers, and healers who work with the tarot and other oracles. As a psychic guide, Cooch Daniels will be seeking to discover both New Age and traditional methods to deepen your mutual understanding of how you can further awaken your intuition and abilities to work with your divinatory channels. Cooch will end each hour of her show answering your questions and a meditative contemplation for prosperity, well-being, and good fortune. Join Cooch Daniels and her guests on the Mystics, Oracles, and Divination radio show at www.xzbn.net, and you can always email Cooch at mysticarts4you@yahoo.com. That's MYSTICARTS, the number 4, @yahoo.com. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.